Hi, my name is Jenna Zayed, and the public health concern I'm addressing is the multi-state outbreak of Salmonella Stanley infections linked to raw cashew cheese made by the Cultured Kitchen in West Sacramento. So this case dates from November 13th, 2013 to January 3rd, 2014, and the outbreak occurred because the cashews in the raw cashew cheese were they never went through a required kill step, meaning any bacteria on the nuts survived into the final product. And the cashews were also imported, and the exact source was unclear in the case report, and this added to the risk. And looking at the demographic information, a majority of the cases were in California, and then there was also one reported case from Utah, which was excluded because the infection was acquired abroad, and this highlights the importance of tracing local contamination. And we can see that many of the affected individuals were young adults, by the median age being 27. And public health officials identified cases by using DNA fingerprinting through pulsed field gel electrophoresis and data from PulseNet, which is the National Molecular Surveillance Network for Foodborne Illness. And looking at some of the more broader impacts of this outbreak, beyond just the health risks, economically, the company voluntarily recalled all 6 varieties of their cashew cheese on December 31st, 2013, and this resulted in major losses, waste product, and reputational damage. And because the cashews were imported, the supply chain was more complex and harder to control. And socially and culturally, the brand was especially popular among vegan and dairy-free consumers, so the outbreak risked undermining trust in products marketed as wholesome or raw. And because the product had a long shelf life and cases occurred across 3 different states, which were California, Arizona, and Nevada, clear communication is essential because individuals who bought the product before the recall and have not heard the news might still have them in their homes, which is a big risk factor. And from a regulatory standpoint, raw and fermented nut products pose unique microbiological hazards, and also detecting this rare Salmonella strain was challenging, and it just goes to show the importance of having a strong surveillance system. And then for the SWOT analysis, the strength was essentially the rapid identification of cases through the PulseNet and DNA fingerprinting, especially since this was a rare strain of Salmonella. And the weakness was that there was no kill step in production and many risks from imported cashews. The opportunity is that a possible opportunity is to redesign the production line and include validated pathogen reduction steps. And the threat is, again, the long shelf life, meaning contaminated products could remain in homes. The primary cause of this outbreak was biological contamination of raw cashews, and combined with the production process without having a kill step. And additional contributing factors included the supply chain risks, gaps in facility procedures, and the difficulty of detecting contamination early. So one proposed solution is to require mandatory pasteurization for cashews used in raw vegan products, and this could consist of steam pasteurization, where cashews are essentially exposed to high temperature steam for a short period, and this kills the Salmonella and other pathogens without cooking the nut. And then there's also dry heat treatment, which is where the cashews are heated in a dry air at controlled temperatures, which eliminates bacteria while maintaining the nut's raw qualities. And the last one could be high pressure processing, which is where the cashews are subjected to a very high pressure, and this destroys harmful bacteria without using heat and preserves the raw texture and nutrients. Another alternative is stricter food safety training and certifications for employees. Actually used to work in the food industry, and it was mandatory for us to renew our certification and training every couple months or so. And it was extremely important, and we weren't allowed to be in contact with any food until we got our training done. So I think it's extremely important in strengthening quality and upholding policies. And in relation to the health belief model, we can see why preventive actions are sometimes ignored. In this case, only about 25% of consumers had ever heard of a tree nut recall, and this shows a low perceived susceptibility. And many people just assume that raw nuts are naturally safe, and this creates perceived barriers and makes producers less likely to adopt interventions such as pasteurization. So, strengthening prevention goes beyond recalls. Supply chain controls, such as verifying suppliers' sanitation practices and just conducting routine microbial and environmental testing, could help catch contamination earlier. And improved communication is especially critical. So instead of relying on like one single recall notice, social media, emails, and retail partnerships, and many more can be used in order to ensure that customers actually receive the warning. And rapid response protocols, staff training, and scenario drills can help companies act immediately when contamination is suspected. So, my action plan focuses on improving public health communication and rapid response over a 12-month timeline. And it includes standardized alerts, multilingual materials, digital monitoring, and regular staff drills. And local and state health departments, with the support of the CDC, FDA, manufacturers, and retailers, can all play a role in implementing this system. So, in summary, the Salmonella Stanley outbreak in raw cashew cheese resulted from contaminated raw ingredients and an absence of a kill step. It also highlighted the importance of consumer awareness, strong communication, and rapid response systems. And a comparable event is one that occurred in Europe in 2019, so pretty recent. Multiple countries actually experienced a salmonella outbreak linked to Brazil nuts, and in response, there were a lot of strict microbiological controls, including validated kill steps such as the ones I suggested. And yeah, thank you.